So many stores have completely closed, gone out of business, or closed many of their stores over the last couple of decades, and especially over the last few years. And just this morning, yet another major store is announcing store closures. In this video, I'm going to tell you which one it is. It is a store that many of us have grown up with. And I also happen to have a fairly mortifying experience from this store, so I'll tell you about that a bit reluctantly. And we'll also talk about other major store closings from luxury to contemporary, as well as some reasons for why this is happening. A lot of that is going to be what you think, but then also thinking about how shopping has changed since our childhoods, because I feel like it's changed a ton since mine, and I think a lot of you will feel the same way. And looking forward, what can we expect? And amidst all this uncertainty in retail and in the economy and all this change across the globe, I'm going to end this video by telling you about two stores, two brands in particular, which are not only keeping their stores open but are expanding. Who could that be? Stay tuned to find out. And welcome, I'm Autumn Beckman, and I'm here to help you live your most luxurious life within your budget. I post new videos on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so please make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of those, and so you don't miss my daily community posts where I share the best sales of the day and fabulous handbags that I find. Also, don't miss my website, autumnbeckman.com. The shop page is where you'll find handbags and accessories that I have for sale, as well as the My Handbag Collection Organizer, which are pages that I designed to help you organize and curate your handbags and your life. The item tracker page is where you can keep track of all of the information about your handbags and small goods. I also have group trackers, purchase trackers, sales associate contact pages, as well as a variety of calendar layouts so you can pick what works best for you, project planning pages, habit trackers, and so much more. So the latest major retailer to announce that they will be closing stores this year, and actually it's by the end of this month, is JCPenney. And I know that JCPenney doesn't necessarily sell the brands of handbags that we talk about on this channel. However, I know a lot of us grew up with them. I certainly did. And with the economy being the way it is and prices just going up and up, I think there are a lot of people that are shifting away from some of the more expensive brands to more affordable ones, perhaps like some of the ones at JCPenney. And in particular, I have been interested in getting a straw bag for this summer, or a raffia bag. You know, I tried out that Coach one that didn't work out for me. I'll link that video below in case you didn't see it. And I found myself, when I heard the news this morning, going to the JCPenney website and checking out some straw bags from them. And they were all so inexpensive. Yesterday I was looking at some that were a few $100s, and these were like $30. So I feel like they have a lot of great alternatives for things that you would only use a few times a year. I'll go ahead and link a couple of those straw bags below in case you're interested in taking a peek at them too. There were some really cute ones. But JCPenney is just one in a growing list of department stores that is either closing stores or closing its doors completely. And in case you're wondering which 8 stores they are closing this month, they'll close by May 25th. These are in San Bruno, California. It's the shops at Tanforan, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Denver, Colorado, the shops at Northfield. Pocatello, Idaho, that's the Pine Ridge Mall location. Topeka, Kansas, West Ridge Mall. Newington, New Hampshire, the Fox Run Mall. Asheville, North Carolina, the Asheville Mall. And Charleston, West Virginia, the Charleston Town Center. Other department stores we have lost in the last 2 decades are Montgomery Ward, remember them? Lord & Taylor, Foley's. Was Foley's nationwide or just more of a Texas or Southern thing? Barney's, New York. I was shocked when Barney's closed. And we have some designer brands that have gone out of business, like Henry Bendel. How many of you missed them? By the way, you can still find some Henry Bendel items at places like The RealReal. I will link that below for your convenience. I still check them every once in a while. So those guys are completely out of business. There are a lot of other places that are shuttering stores this year, including Macy's. We've been hearing about that one for a while. Nordstrom, Kohl's, Dillard's closed a store in Tennessee earlier this year. Neiman Marcus is closing their flagship store in Dallas. Saks Fifth Avenue, which, did you know this? I did not. They purchased Neiman Marcus last year. They're closing a store in San Francisco, the Union Square location, and Bloomingdale's is also closing their flagship in San Francisco. This year alone, Louis Vuitton has closed a store in Walnut Creek, California, and Gucci and Prada have closed stores in China. So it's definitely not just the United States. This is a global thing. but I am kind of focusing on the US stores here. And I think we understand why so many stores are closing, right? It's not necessarily a recent thing, although there has been an uptick recently. It's been going on for a couple of decades, and a lot of it is related to online shopping, particularly with retailers like Amazon, where you can shop in one place for just about anything on the planet and have it delivered same day, next day, or at the very latest 2 days, at least in most cases. And the prices tend to be pretty competitive too. So with more people shopping online, there's less foot traffic for retail stores. We've seen lots of malls go defunct in our lifetimes. I worked at a mall when I was in college. I worked at a clothing store called Rainbow. It was this, I think it was one of the first fast fashion kind of shops. It was really, really, really terrible quality, cheap clothes. I was there for about a year, and the most disappointing thing to me, to be honest, were the customers, the way that they treated the store and the disrespect, the complete disrespect for the store and for the people who worked there, who had to clean up after them when they just literally left piles of clothing on the floor. Like, I tend to buy my clothing. I don't like spending a lot of money on clothing. I've talked to you guys about this before. First, because I'm just not that fashionable a person, but second, because I have animals and my clothes get ruined and I spill food on myself. I have this great talent for dripping something on a brand new shirt every time. How about you? That can't be just me, right? So because my clothes get ruined pretty quickly, I don't like spending a lot of money on clothing. So I tend to shop at places like TJ Maxx and Marshalls for clothes, and you have to dig through the racks to find stuff. It's maybe not the best shopping experience, but I'm good with it. But then during COVID, which was the other big thing, of course, that shut down a lot of stores, I wasn't going out, so I started shopping online at Macy's. That's where I get most of my tops now. And to find bargains, I still tend to shop in the clearance sections, or I'll wait till they're having a big sale. And I have tried, in Houston and up here in the Portland area, I have tried going into Macy's to shop, and they just don't have the same selection that I find online. And particularly since it's a little harder to find my size than it would be a size 6, right? Not everything is available in my size, and I have certain things that I'm looking for in clothing, and the way things are cut, or different sleeve lengths or necklines. And when you're shopping online, you're able to sort and filter things out based on the things you're looking for. Whereas in person, it takes a lot longer to do that. And I think that's probably why my whole life I don't want to use the word hate, that's maybe a little strong, maybe. I have really disliked department stores. For the most part, refused to shop in them, at least for clothing, because I find it so difficult to navigate them. And you know how there are these clothing racks that are set up in quadrants where you have to walk all the way around it to get to all of them. And there are a bunch of those set out together. I find it really difficult to physically navigate that and be able to see everything. That's not a kind of organization that my brain likes. So that's another reason, at least with clothing, that I really prefer shopping online, unless it's something like a TJ Maxx or Marshalls. Handbags, that's a different story. I love department stores for handbags. When I lived in Houston, I used to go to the Neiman Marcus at the Galleria, which is very near where I lived, so it wasn't very out of the way, and it was even closer to where I worked, so it was pretty easy for me to get to the mall and get back home. And I would go to Neiman's because at one time, it's not like this anymore, unfortunately, but they had a Louis Vuitton in that Neiman Marcus. They also had a Chanel there, and they had pretty much any other brand you wanted to look at. They had everything from Coach and Kate Spade to Loewe and Bottega, Tory Burch, so contemporary to luxury, all in the space of maybe 1,000 square feet. And also, this was the Houston Galleria, where this is high-end luxury shopping. So they have a standalone Louis Vuitton store and a Fendi and a fill in the blank. But when you go in those stores, I feel like there are more eyes on you. There's a little more pressure. You feel like you don't want to waste people's time by just browsing. Whereas in the department store, you can go walk around and browse and it's not a big deal. You're not being watched, or you're not being fawned over to any degree. You don't feel like you're wasting anyone's time, and you can still see everything in one place and touch things. Things are out on shelves where you can reach them. They're not up behind counters or behind glass. So I love department stores for that. Since I have been in the Portland area, we do have a Louis Vuitton, we have a Gucci, I think there's a YSL, there's a Nordstrom, I think Nordstrom is based out of Portland. There are a couple malls. I have been to the mall where Coach is a couple of times, but I have not been been, not once, downtown to the Louis Vuitton and all the higher end stores, if you can believe that. And part of that, I think, is the inconvenience of having to go down there and find parking and all that stuff, because it is in the downtown area. It's so much easier to just shop online. And I wonder how you guys feel about that. I would love if you would leave your comments about it below. What are your experiences now with shopping? Do you prefer online shopping? Do you prefer in-person shopping? Does it depend on what you're shopping for? And I know with a lot of the luxury stores, there's certainly a matter of distance from you. I think most people in America don't have those stores close to them. They tend to only be scattered in a few of the big cities. But I wonder too about how shopping has changed during your lifetime. When I was growing up, shopping was a social thing to do, like when you're a preteen or a teenager. Is it still like that? I feel like it is. If for no other reason than there's not much for kids to do that's indoors and safe and most importantly free. But my experience growing up was also that I didn't get to go to the mall very often because, as many of you know, I grew up poor. We didn't have money to buy anything at the mall. You know how kids, they're all about fitting in, right? And they like to wear the same clothing as everybody, the same brands, all that stuff. That was certainly how it was when I was growing up. But I never had any of that. I'm having trouble remembering now where my clothes came from, but they were never from the mall, from any of the stores like the Gap or 579 or anything like that. You remember 579? Am I taking you on a time machine? My favorite store at the mall, and it's going to show what a nerd I am, was the bookstore. It was Walden Books, which is not in business anymore, of course. But we couldn't even afford that because a book would be $6 or $7 and I would read it in one day. So I ended up being more of a library kid, and fortunately we had one near where we lived. And then malls were also about people watching, which was never my thing. I never really understood that, but apparently a lot of people enjoy watching other people. It's just not my thing. I did mention, getting back to JCPenney, I said I had a mortifying story to tell you. So when I was a kid, my grandmother took me shopping. She was a shopper like I am, and I got a lot of my bargain hunting skills from her. But she took me to Penny's, and I think we were shopping for training bras. And I remember distinctly being in the middle of the women's section and the underwear section, right? And she took this training bra and held it up to my body, trying to see if it would fit. And I was so mortified by that, because there are people around, and you don't just, like, put underwear up to yourself, right? It's very embarrassing, especially for a child, and I still wouldn't do that as an adult. I think that would be very strange. I was just mortified by that. Like, why would you not just grab a handful of things that might work? Let's go to the fitting room, try it on there. There is no reason to do that in public, thank you. And getting back to the shopping thing, the online versus in store, I'm wondering, as I was preparing for this video, do you think when you are shopping online versus shopping in person, and you have something specific that you're shopping for, do you think you end up leaving that store, that shopping experience, with just what you went for, or do you feel like with maybe in person you end up spending more? If you go online, you can certainly browse online and see all kinds of things, and we can spend hours just looking at things that are available for purchase online. But in the store, even if you are going in for one particular thing and you are focused, you are surrounded by thousands of other objects, and they're going to catch your eye. The stores are set up so that they will. And so I feel like it's a lot easier in person to make impulse purchases than it is online. That's what I was trying to say. What do you think about that? Do you find that true or not? Are you very disciplined about that? Or do you feel like, oh, $5 here, $10 there, not a big deal. But then you get to the register, it really adds up, right? But then that's another thing that's easier about online shopping, is that you can see your total without standing in a line with the cashier in front of you and possibly a line of people behind you. Because if you're in person and that total is higher than you really wanted it to be or were expecting, and you feel like, oh no, I regret getting this and that, it's harder to say, oh, I don't want this or that, because there's like social pressure. But if you are online and your total is more than you wanted it to be, you can just remove things from the cart and it's easy. So what do you think? Do you spend more in person or online? What is your favorite way to shop? I was going to ask, what if all in-person shopping went away and we were 100% online? And I was going to ask that, like, ooh, what if this thing actually happens? And then I realized, oh yeah, it has happened about 5 years ago. So we already know what that's like. The world adapts, people adapt, and we can get anything now, even groceries, online, which I never do, by the way. I have to go in person to the grocery store because I am far too particular about what I want. How about you? So do you think shopping has changed since your childhood, for the better or for the worse? What are your preferences? What do you think about mall shopping? Do you still do much of that? Is it still a social thing? Speaking of malls, I was going to tell you two retailers, two brands actually, that are not only not closing stores, by the way, Coach is not closing stores as far as I can tell, but two retailers that are actually expanding and opening more stores. And these guys are both on very opposite ends of the spectrum here. We have a very high-end luxury brand, Chanel, which is planning to open 48 new stores globally this year, many of which are going to be in the United States and China. I'm a little surprised by that because the luxury sales numbers have been going down fairly steadily from what I've seen. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. And with all these places closing, I feel like it's a little risky. It's pretty bold to open almost 50 new stores, especially when so many people are complaining about your brand raising prices astronomically while the quality isn't what it used to be. But then on the other end of the spectrum, we have Portland Leather Goods, who has been opening stores across the country. They just last week opened one in Houston. They had opened one in Austin, I guess it was last year. My mom went to that one and got me that little keychain there, the star bag charm, and she got me a handbag from that location, which I don't have in front of me. And then last week when the store opened, I think on Thursday, I saw it. We already knew the store was opening, but they hadn't given an opening date. So I saw somebody post in a Facebook group that it was open, so I let her know. And she works about 2 blocks from the mall, so she went right down there after work and did a little shopping and picked herself up a new bag. And I know they're also opening a store in Dallas, I think at the Dallas Galleria. And I've heard plans that they're opening stores in lots of other places around the country too. So they seem to be doing pretty well. And that one I understand because their bags are so inexpensive compared to certainly the luxury brands, but also the contemporary brands like Coach. I think all the Portland Leather Goods bags are still under $200. Is there anything from Coach full price that's under $200? Bags, I mean. And they also release new things all the time. They've always done that. I will put a link below for Portland Leather Goods so you can check out their new stuff. And let me know if they're opening a store near you or if you've been to one of their retail stores and what you think. I've been, of course, to the Portland stores and they're a lot of fun. I really enjoy going there. So let me know what you think of all of that in the comments. Check out the links in the description box. And thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Hope to see you back here next time, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.